My name is Tor. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about how to use Chat GPT for coding. In this video, I'll be showing you how to utilize the power of Chat GPT to make coding faster and efficient. If you'd like to spend less time creating boiler templates and repetitive code patterns, and more time on what matters, building great software, Chat GPT is a great solution for you. Just a quick pause. If you enjoy this kind of content, kindly consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when I publish new content. Subscribe to support my work so that I continue bringing you such videos to educate you and help you in your coding journey. First, let's look at the best use cases for ChatGPT in coding. The first best use case for ChatGPT is code generation. ChatGPT is an excellent tool for your code generation. No matter which coding language you're working with, you can always generate code snippets for your project using ChatGPT. ChatGPT is also very useful for code completion. If you're stuck somewhere and would like to complete your code or automate your code completion, ChatGPT is an excellent tool. Finally, you can use ChatGPT for code documentation. In this video, I'm going to explore the 12 ways you can use ChatGPT to make your coding faster. First, getting answers to your code questions. Automated code generation, code completion, code refactoring, formatting code, format conversion, comparison, documentation, debugging, minifying, regular expressions, colors, gradients, and layouts generation for the HTML markup. Let me show you how to execute each of these tasks using ChatGPT. I have some code here to help us with learning how to use ChatGPT for coding. On my first file, I have a PHP class that has a child. On my second file, I have a recursive JavaScript function. And on the third file, I have some JSON data. Begin by opening your ChatGPT console and typing on this input field. My first question to ChatGPT is, what is a float in Python? I've already prepared the questions before to make it easier for you to follow. As you can see, ChatGPT gives you detailed answers of any code question that you put in the console. It also gives you a good documentation on the code. You can take this further by providing a more detailed, complex question to ChatGPT to give you better documentation. Something like provide documentation for the type function in Python. ChatGPT provides you with the documentation of the type function. In this example, type is used to determine the types of variables x, y, and z. You can also find the precise source of that information by asking a more detailed question, like where is type defined in the Python engine? Why is type defined in the Python engine? Type function is a built-in function in Python. Then it gives you a reference down here on where you can find this. You can click on this link and it's going to open up the Git repo where you can further look at the code for that particular function. Those are just a few examples of how you can use ChatGPT for answering your code questions. The second way to use ChatGPT is to complete code. For example, if I have this JSON code here, and maybe I have left two curly brackets to close it, complete this code. ChatGPT will quickly complete the code by closing the two curly brackets for you. You can also complete complex code. For example, we can pick up this and ChatGPT will definitely complete that code. The third way you can use ChatGPT is generating code. So we can type something like generate JavaScript class for Stripe checkout. ChatGPT generates the code that you'd require to create a class for checkout for Stripe payment method. It's fast, efficient. You just need to know the basics of your coding and you can improve your development by 10-fold. Another way you can use Chat GPT is to rename methods and refactor your code. I'd like to stop that, then bring up this, rename all the methods in this code. Then I specified I need this prefix. So I bring up this class here, and ChatGPT adds that prefix to my methods, like this method get date, get amount. So I can quickly use ChatGPT to rename or refactor my code. Another way to use ChatGPT is formatting code. Think of a situation where we have this JSON data or any data that's not well formatted. Format this JSON code. And ChatGPT does a good job in formatting and beautifying the code. Another way to use ChatGPT is converting the code from one version to another. For example, we can copy this JSON and write something like convert this JSON code to XML. And ChatGPT provides us with some valid XML document. Another way to use ChatGPT for coding is documentation. For example, I can copy this recursive function here, then back to ChatGPT and simply write something like this. Write detailed code comments for this code. So gives us back the code that is well documented. And you can also push ChatGPT further to translate these code comments into a different language. It gives us the comment for each code block, Then we can request ChatGPT translate these code comments to Spanish. And ChatGPT does an excellent job to document our code in Spanish. Another way to use ChatGPT is to compare two code blocks. Think in this example where we have this code, but this code has something that's missing. Suppose when you're creating your code, there's something that's missing here. So this is the original code. We have the first code block here. Then back to our code. Maybe we are missing something here. And we request ChatGPT to give us the difference between those code blocks. This is a useful trick when you are trying to debug or find what's the difference between your previous version or your current version. But this can also be taken care of by most IDEs. Another way to use ChatGPT is to debug your code. For example, back to this code, suppose we left this bracket there, and we also had this bracket missing, and we had this plus sign missing. Then you bring up this console and write something like ChatGPT will immediately debug your code and give you the code that's right. So on line 7, there is a missing opening parenthesis. On line 8, there is a typo. On line 10, for the loop condition has a typo, and the increment should be plus, not plus. So that's how you use ChatGPT for debugging. You can also use ChatGPT to minify the code. For example, I can use the same code and write something like minify this I used the same code we generated before to show you how you can use Chat GPT to minify code. This is particularly useful for JavaScript. You can also use Chat GPT to create regular expressions. For example, you can type something like create a regular expression validate to validate an email input field. So ChatGPT helps with your regular expressions and gives you an example on how you would use this regular expression. Finally, you can use ChatGPT for creating color gradients, layouts, and much more HTML elements. So I have a detailed question here to ChatGPT. Create HTML layout with 3 columns using CSS grid, generate CSS graded background with blue and purple, then add it to the background of the body element. Then ChatGPT begins creating the HTML document with the doc type, generates the background here, creates a container with the grid class, and you see it has 3 columns, and we have the columns with the dummy text, and it goes on and on to generate the HTML markup. So that's how you use ChatGPT for coding, among several other ways that you can apply. So thank you for watching, and kindly consider giving this video a thumbs up if it gave you an idea on how to use ChatGPT for coding to help us with the algo, as well as to encourage me to bring you more quick tips on how to use AI for your day-to-day coding. Thank you, and check out the other videos on my channel.